Yo, I just realized I wasn't talking the whole time, but it's all good. It's all good. So just keep following with what I'm doing right now, and then I'll explain it shortly. So, and I have another one called register client character, and we actually passed in the character, which is a model. This is a type, by the way. You're pretty much saying that this has to be a model. All right, and then we're gonna print character added. Let's put in our character. And then I'll quickly go over what this whole thing means. So if we were to hit play now, see what were to happen. You're gonna see it's going to say client initialized, client started, character added. And let's see. Table.insert. Maybe we will do this. So we wrap it, but we can't return that object. That's the problem. Okay. But we do know that our functions run. But the issue is we need to yield this module every time the character gets removed. So let's go ahead and do that. So instead of wrap, we're going to call it a create function down here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go for underscore coroutine. Let's make it uppercase C. In pairs or I pairs registered character coroutines. We're gonna go coroutine dot no, we're gonna do coroutine dot resume coroutine. And let's put this in here. And let's put this in here. And then yeah. Uh oh yeah. Let's yield all of that, and then we're just gonna clear the table of our characters. So yeah. So if we hit play now, we should see, quote should, attempt to call a thread value. You know, the thing's really pissing me off. Okay, whatever. Let's just get rid of this piece. Okay, get rid of this piece. And get rid of this piece. And then you can get rid of this insert function as well, matter of fact. Because it seems we can't insert a coroutine into a table. Which, I'm going to be honest, is not very fun. But it's okay. We'll just keep it like that then. Alright, we don't need this function. So let's quickly try this, and then I'll go ahead and explain what the hell we just did. Alright, so attempt to call a thread value. Oh, my bad, my bad. Should have been resume, or not resume, sorry, wrap. So change these to wrap. If we play, it should run the code over there. Very nice. And every single, you can see it says client initialized, client started, and it says character added. So you can see that no matter what, the initialize function always runs first. So let's say we're to reset our character. Boom, the function runs again. Reset our character again. It will continue to run. Yep, just like so. So now let's go ahead and so yeah, let's keep this open actually. So first off, we create a directory variable which references this client folder here. Then we loop through the folder, and if the module is a module, if the object is not a module script, then we just continue the loop. We skip to the next iteration of our for loop. And then we add, if it is a module script, we're going to add it to this registry list over here. All right. And then we're going to say over here, we're going to loop through the registry array. And if the type of module is not a table, then we're actually going to skip to the next iteration. If it is, we're going to check if it has a function called register client init. If it does, we're going to call that client via coroutine, right? So it doesn't disrupt the script if it has an error. We're going to repeat the exact same steps over here. This one is going to repeat the exact same steps, but with a character object. And the reason we have nil here is because it's expecting self when we do colon. But since we don't have an actual meta table to parse in, we won't be sending anything over, right? And we're doing the same exact thing here, but this is for whenever the character gets added to the game. So it's pretty self-explanatory. It's like 38 lines of code. You know, it's really good. It's close. And you can see the nice thing. You might be asking why we don't just use local scripts. Well, the nice thing about module scripts functioning as local scripts is that they can function as modules and as local scripts. So, you know, it's pretty neat in my opinion. Yeah, that's pretty much it really. So, uh, now let's do the same thing but with the server. So let's go ahead and go into our service. Let's create a server script. In server script service, and I'm going to call this server. And you wouldn't believe me if I told you, but we can go boom, boom, and make sure to remove the character part because that doesn't work on the server. And then just change this to server, 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 and change it to service storage. We'll wait for child services. Boom. And if we create a module script inside of services and we change it to register server start and server init, and we hit play, function expected by now. Okay, what did we do wrong this time? Server init, coroutine. Oh yeah. Forgot to change this to server. Yep. And then if we're to hit play, it should run. You can see the server runs first, server initialize, and then we start any server functions, and then we move on to the client. So it works just like we wanted it to. All right. So we set up our framework, but now let's set up our remote module real quick. Okay. So let's delete this and let's delete that. And then we're gonna add something here, and we're gonna call this. Alright, I'll send it to you guys in this. You guys don't have to do this, but I will be sending it to you guys. Here we go. So we're gonna be using a remote module called Red. All right, pretty simple to use actually, but I'll show you guys how you can use it soon. So we literally could have just went script. No, just no, we could have went script parent. So I'm gonna set it up, and then I'll link it down in the description if you guys want to same thing. Script.parent, just in case. And we'll do the same thing to every single one here. dot spawn. Alright, just like so. Yeah, so do the same thing. So we can just remove one parent. Yeah, and instead we'll change this. Future, just like so, and we'll do the same thing to identifier. Just like so. Guard. Let's just change this to guard. Oh, I spelled it wrong. That's why. Do the same things, except yeah, spawn. And then set this one will be called signal. There we go. And we pretty much got everything set up. And then I'll quickly be showing you guys how we're gonna do this. So, and we'll put red and shared. Yeah. Okay, so this events folder will hold our remote events, and this functions folder will hold our remote functions, and then this table right here will hold our remote. It will hold all of the folder stuff in here. So let me just quickly show you guys something. So let's create a module script in here, and we're gonna call this one example events. And let's reference red in here. So we're gonna do require script.parent.parent.red. And we're just gonna say return red.event. Okay. Script.name. And a function. And so this creates a remote event, and this function is a validate function. This lets you validate the arguments that are being passed to your remote. Dot 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 just means you don't know how many arguments you're gonna get, so usually you just return dot dot dot. Okay? But if you were only expecting numbers, you could go red dot. Let me show you. You could reference another thing called guard, and it'd do script.parent.red libraries.guard. And then you could go. So let's say you had something called A, B, and C. You could do assert guard dot, so you can say if not guard dot, if you're expecting an instance for A and you don't get it, then you could return end. And you can do the same thing with B and C. So you could say, let's say B is supposed to be a string, so if not guard dot string, then return end. And then let's say C is supposed to be a number, if not guard dot number C, then return end. If you wanted to error this, you would put an assert function, and you'd go guard dot instance a argument 1 needs to be instance. But in our case, we'll just put dot 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 because we don't know how many arguments we're gonna have, and we just return them. So make sure to always return all the arguments you get. All right. And since we set it up like this, realistically, you could clone this, and let's say you have one for combat, you'd call this like combat event. All right. But now that you have a remote event down, you're gonna have to go in here and reference it into this table. So we're gonna do example events is equal to require script.events.example events. All right. And then in the future, I'll be showing you guys how you can use, actually no, I'll show you guys right now. So let's create a client script and let's quickly reference red, our remote library. And we're gonna do module register client init. And we're gonna, actually let's register the character. And let's get our character. And we're gonna go remote library dot events, and then you need to reference the name of your event. So we're gonna say example event. And then you have to tell the event if you're on the server or the client. In our case, we're gonna be on the client. And then you have two functions. On means like on client events. Fire means fire server. So we're gonna do fire, and we're gonna pass in our character. All right. And then now in our server script, we're gonna receive that. So let's create a module script. Let's reference a remote library. And we're gonna go function module register server init. I'm just gonna say remote module dot events dot example event. We're on the server, and then when we get functioned, we're gonna have a player, obviously, and then our character, which is gonna be a model. And then we're just gonna print character got sent to server. And let's print out the name of the character just for safety. And if we hit play, boom, new poop 1213 got sent to server. Really simple to use, really. Nothing too crazy. Yeah. So that's gonna be our remote library. And then we have a couple more. So let's also add our we're going to add made. So made is it's a wrapper for cleaning stuff. Look, it literally just cleans up events. So you can do, so this destroys all your objects. Okay. And this is the same thing as do cleaning. And give task gives your object a task. Okay. And then yeah, you don't gotta worry about made. It's really easy to use. And then I have a custom module in here. It's called a bucket wrapper. Something my friend made me. So this is going to be used for our data and our stuns and all of that. So this is pretty much what it's going to do is when you get a bucket, it's going to return a big table of a bunch of values your object has. Okay? Set is going to set a value to your object, and if you're on the server, it'll replicate it to the clients. Okay? And then temporary effect will set a value for a certain amount of time. This also stacks, right? Yeah, pretty easy. And then dump into it literally just adds a big table of values into your bucket. And then, yeah, that's kind of it. So I'll be providing you guys with all of these modules, and then another one I want to add is called profile service. So, I think I have it. Yeah, let's quickly add profile service. So we're gonna be using profile service for our data store. Okay. Let's quickly save this to my and yeah, that's pretty much it. If you got any questions, feel free to direct message me on Discord. I'll leave it down below, and I'll also leave my Discord servers down below. So yeah.